Welcome back to another local newsletter series. We're going to be breaking down the Frederick and Buzz in more detail. This is the second video. In this video, we're going to be looking specifically at their latest edition as of recording this video. And I'm going to be talking through all the great things they're doing in order to grow and make money and how you can copy this using AI in order to save you time. So as we talked about previously, this local newsletter is sharing local news, events, dining, and shopping. And we're going to break down this edition here. So if you scroll down on their homepage, you can see all of these different editions that they have put out or issues. So the first thing I want to point out that I really like about this is when you go over to this homepage, what you're able to do is you can connect. So what you can do is look at all the different social media channels that the Frederick Buzz has, and you can click on these in order to get there. Now, what they've done here, which is quite clever, is you'll notice we've got a second set of buttons. And what's different about these buttons is you click on these in order to share this newsletter. So if you see a newsletter that you really like or an issue that you really like, you can click this button and it will share to your social media. And that's a great way for an issue like this to get spread, and then more subscribers will come in. But what they've done as well, because it's not really that obvious, and when you're looking at a newsletter like this, then your eyes might not be drawn to this, but they put share on Facebook. So basically they've just taken this link. So all you've got to do is right click, copy the link, and then you can just put it onto any keyword you want as anchor text, which is really easy to do in these tools like Beehive or CopyQuill that you want to use in order to write your local newsletter. If you want to know more about platforms to write these local newsletters on, then check out my previous video and I'll give you a couple of suggestions in the description as well. But they're clearly wanting to grow their Facebook as well, which is really, really important, because the more social proof you've got in terms of numbers, the more subscribers you're going to get on your newsletter. And what I mean by that is, with a newsletter like this, you don't know exactly how big it is. So in the previous video, I recommended that they put down here exactly how many readers they had, 4,000, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, whatever it is, because that's going to be social proof and people are more likely to enter their email. But on Instagram and Facebook, obviously you can see the exact number of subscribers or followers, I should say, that a particular page has. And we will go through all of these in a future video. But you can't tell that with a newsletter. So by putting it on that front page, you get social proof. And by being able to push people from the newsletter to Facebook, you've got the opportunity there to get them to subscribe to the Facebook page as well. And an advertiser sees that, they see that you've got 5, 10,000, 2,000, whatever subscribers on your Instagram or your Facebook, they're more likely to give you money. So as we said before, we've got a nice summary of what is going to be in the newsletter. And then what we've got here is a summary of their events. Now, I broke this down a little bit more in the previous video, but what I want to say about this is you can 100% write this with AI. And on top of that, what I recommended was that we had this information down at the bottom of the newsletter, because this is what most people come for. They come for events and they come for music and things to do. So I would have this section at the bottom. Now, I also think this is very short. I would like to see a lot more going on. We have a tool that we use that's able to take the events off Facebook and then put them into our newsletter in just a couple of clicks. So we're not going through manually trying to find everything on Facebook, and uses other methods like AI in order to be able to find and edit these events so they look good. If you want to know more about that, just put scraper down in the comments as a word, and then I can make a video on that if we get enough interest. But that's what I would be doing. Now, what we're going to do in a future video is you'll notice that we've got this Frederick Happenings app here on the page. Now, I have had a quick look through for 2 minutes, and as far as I'm aware, as of recording this video, Frederick's and Happenings and this newsletter are kind of like in a partnership. So it says like partnered with. So the reason I'm guessing that they've decided to put this at the top is they're actually trying to drive traffic over to the app to get signups, because either they're in partnership in that they have built it together, or they're getting some kind of, kickback or commission for anyone who signs up to the app. So we've got a link here to sign up to the app. We've obviously got a promotion here brought to you by the Frederick Happenings app. So people are like, oh, that's interesting. And then there's two ways there that you can get that sort of, it's making it clear that the app is important to the newsletter. So we will break down the app in a future video, but that might be, like I said, the reason this is right at the top. Then what we can see here is we've got wondering what's going on in Frederick tonight, from trivia bands to live bands, best drinks. There's a brand new app that keeps it all in one place. Don't be the last to know. Grab the free Frederick Happenings app. And then we've got the link. So that's your third plug for the app. And then it's got one real-time videos and stories. Follow on Instagram. And again, I've taken a quick look at their social media. And they're doing great things, and I'll break down exactly what you should be copying from their social media in a future video in this series. But very quickly, like I said, we've got 3 plugs for this app, so we'll definitely do a dedicated video breaking that down. And what I don't want you to do is, I don't want you to get worried. You do not need an app. You can put all of your events into a newsletter. In fact, that's what most local newsletters do. They don't have an app. An app is something you can build. It's not difficult now with AI to build an app that's going to be able to have this kind of sort of events listings for your local area built. You can do it with AI tools. We can do it for our clients, or if our students ask about it. So don't panic. You don't have to have an app. It's something you can do much further down the line, or never do at all with your local newsletter. And that's why I don't want to focus on it too much more in this video. Next, what we've got is a recipe. Recipe is not something you have to put in your newsletter at all, but if it's something that you are interested in and you feel like your readers would be interested in it, then you could put that in there. There's also a way for you to be able to make money from this. So for example, if you went to a local restaurant and said, can you share a recipe with me from your restaurant? I'll feature it in the newsletter. And then, you could get paid for that exposure. So you go to the restaurant and say, pay me, $100, whatever it is, depending on how big your newsletter is. I'll feature your recipe in the newsletter, and then I'll put a link to your business, and you can get some traffic that way. Scrolling down then a bit further, we've got Meet Pam's Hair Glam Squad. Straight away you can see that this newsletter is targeting women over 35, and actually that's what most of the demographic is going to be for this newsletter. So things like recipes and things like Hair Glam Squad are totally going to work with your target audience. Now we can see here we've got listing everything in it, and then we've got top Amazon picks. Now I'm going to break this down in a future video, but basically this person running this newsletter, Pam, has signed up as an Amazon associate. You can do the same as well. You will make very, very small amounts of money. You're not going to make huge money with this. But if you're brand new to a newsletter, then this little bit of money could be really useful, because even if you're just making a few dollars, you could turn that dollars into Facebook ads, and at sort of 50 cents a subscriber, then that could be what's going to help start getting those first subscribers to trickle in. So not what I would recommend as a main income, but definitely something you could do, and we'll take a look at that in more detail in our next video. What we've got next in this grey box is an ad. So we've got this ad for this roofing company. I like the fact that they've made it look different with the background. You should definitely be making it clear to your readers what is an ad and what isn't. We've got hashtag sponsored here to show that it is an ad. And I should mention at this point as well, the email providing whatever service, whatever you pick to use, will allow you to do this kind of layout organization so that you can make it clear where you've got an ad. Copycore does it, Beehive does it, or any other platform that you want to use does it. You can see all the details for the ad, and then all of the contact details. What they've also done as well is they've got a plug here for would you like to become an advertiser? Contact me today. We'll take a look at this one as well in a future video, but it probably goes through to a form, might go through to an email address, and then you'll be able to put your ad into this local newsletter. So if you subscribe to this local newsletter because you live in Frederick and you become a reader of the Frederick Buzz, you would see this button week in, week out, and then you might think, you know what, I'm going to actually get my business into this newsletter and get some exposure. We've got a second business here that also could be an ad. It doesn't say ad anywhere on it, but it could be that this person is paying to have this in, or as you can see here, it's for charity. So this could be sort of raising money. So I don't know whether we've got Housing Frederick is paying to have this in here, or whether they've decided to do this for charity. I would imagine that as it's not tagged as an ad, it is for charity. Then we've got down here local buzz. Now, quite often when you start your local newsletter, you're going to have business owners come to you and they just can't afford your prices. I don't want you dropping your prices for your ads and sponsorship packages. Businesses which have a large budget, like roofers, will be able to pay for your services, but there's smaller businesses that won't. And so what you can do is you can put them down in sort of like a classified section, which is what this looks like. So these are going to be smaller businesses or things that are going on that aren't sort of able to pay or aren't sort of big events, and you can have these sort of further down as sort of a classified section. This one here looks a little bit more like it is actually laid out for news that you might want to check out. But like I said, I'd probably have that further up and then swap the events down to here. But a classified section for people that can't afford your full ads is really useful. And in a future video, I'll talk about exactly how I recommend you run your classified ads, because even though these people that you put down sort of at the bottom of this part of your newsletter, they may not be able to pay you a lot or anything at all, but you could still actually massively benefit from putting them into your newsletter. So I'll talk to you about that in a future video. Then we've got top homes of the week. And what we've got here is a link. So this could go out to a realtor. And then we've got the podcast, which again, we'll be breaking down in a future video, exactly what the podcast includes and how, if you wanted to, you could start a podcast and actually you could create a fully AI generated podcast that will drive traffic back to your local newsletter. So we'll show you how to do that in this video series as well using AI. So hopefully you've got a better idea now of the kind of things that you could be putting into a newsletter and exactly what they're doing in this newsletter in order to keep people coming back and reading more. What we'll do, we're going to come back to this issue again in the next video, and we'll be going through more of their features in a little bit more detail. We'll see you in the next one.